What would you do if you had control over time? The ability to shift back from a moment of peril and try your luck with a different tactic. Sounds like a win-win situation, right? But to have that much power, nothing comes without a cost. Hello there guys, Billybae10K here, bringing you another video game review. Today, we're looking at Katana ZERO, a 2019 indie game developed by Akiisoft Studios, originally released on PC and Nintendo Switch, with an Xbox One port released in October last year. Before I get into this review, please be aware that Katana ZERO is an M-rated title and contains mature themes and subject matters involving drugs, violence, and disturbing visuals. If you're not comfortable with that, perhaps this game isn't for you, and you might want to skip this video. If not, let's continue. Katana ZERO is described as a neo-noir 2D action platforming title, where the player character, known only as the Dragon, must navigate a variety of side-scrolling levels, killing any enemies he finds with his blade, the items around him, and even the environment, while maneuvering past tricky obstacles and traps with his ability to slow time. My first impressions of this title across the years have been very indifferent. The retro pixel art style has been done to death in the indie scene, and the gameplay trailers left me intrigued but not excited to try the game out. It wasn't until I saw it super cheap during the Steam 2020 winter sale that I thought, you know what, let's just do it. And hey, I want to try and play a range of different titles this year, so let's delve into this world and see what there is to find. And with an 83% on Metacritic and an overwhelmingly positive reception from gamers, I suspect I'm in for a treat. So without further ado, let us begin. Katana ZERO begins with a simple 10 days remaining. Instantly you know that this game has a deadline, and it is fast approaching. It fades out to someone saying, "So, tell me again about the men in masks," followed by, "I see, then let's start from the beginning." We then cut to the roof of a rundown district of town where the Dragon takes out two guards, one off-screen, the other with his bullet deflection ability. The tone is set with blood. People in this world can be taken out in a single hit, but the inverse applies to yourself. The tutorial mission is straightforward, teaching you the various abilities of the Dragon. As a samurai assassin, you are nimble, fast, able to deflect or dodge roll through bullets and lasers. In the second mission, you are given the ability to use items from the environment, often by throwing them, blunt force weapons, air freshener cans, molotovs, and even remote bombs. The stage will give you the tools you need to succeed, as in most cases, you can only progress through a level by killing all of the enemies in each room. Each stage takes place in a different location, from a disco nightclub where you learn to stealth your way through crowds, to a movie studio where you have to fight your way through various sets, finding keycards to unlock the main door in the lobby, and each level will give you something new to take in and tackle. The gameplay is extremely fresh. I was constantly wondering what the game would throw at me next. Enemy variety is satisfactory for the most part. You have mobs to type with guns, swords, police officers with shotguns and shields, alongside epic boss battles with unique characters that really help to challenge the player. I just wish there were more of them throughout the game. Each enemy can be taken down with a single swing of your sword, but some require more thought. Do you rush headfirst into a room filled with gunmen and risk deflecting all of their attacks? Do you pick off enemies one at a time, take things slow? What is the optimal path through each stage? What will always work, and what will net you the victory that allows your plan to succeed? What I love the most about Katana ZERO is that the gameplay you experience is just the Dragon planning his route of attack. The dragon puts on one of his fantastic synthwave music tracks, composed by Ludowick and Bill Kiley, which I just want to say perfectly set the tones for each stage and setting of the game. The OST is one of my favorite aspects of this title, before the dragon sets off on his mission. If you die, you get rewound instantly to the beginning of the level to try again. No penalty for failure, and a quick respawn time getting you right back into the action, like other indie darling Celeste, which was a game praised for how quickly it gets you back into its platforming. And if you succeed and beat a level, you get to watch a tape recording of your successful gameplay, which is the dragon actually executing the plan you came up with. For those sequences where you aren't even sure how you got through the stage, you can use this feature to examine what you did well, and they're skippable too, so you don't have to watch them. In fact, I don't really think I ever used the feature, which is why I'm not showing footage of it, lamau. Speaking of skippable, dialogue in this game is treated very interestingly. You are often presented with a brief period near the start of a dialogue tree where you can press a red dialogue icon, which often skips through text for those who simply want to get to the action. But the meat of the story, and the charm of this title's characters, comes from exploring the various dialogue trees throughout. Take this hotel secretary from stage 2. You could ignore her, or you could go down various dialogue routes that suggest you're either cosplaying as a famous character, or that you're in the hotel to take a nice shower. And at the end of the level, when the police arrive, she helps you leave based on the lie you made up. Her dialogue is witty and funny, and this is a trend throughout the whole game. At one point, you're visited by two men in masks, tragedy and comedy. One of them talks like your average Shakespeare character, the other has lines like, "Yeah, harkin, bitch." I think you can guess which one's comedy. You can sometimes find levels and stages where enemies are also talking to each other, and I found myself waiting to see what their conversations were like before I inevitably had to end their lives. It was both funny, but also a grim reminder that these are actual people I'm killing with actual lives. Every character is worth listening to at least once, and it's where the majority of the plot can be found. But be aware that picking those red options could have consequences in the long run. I won't spoil too much, but this game does have moments where the paths branch, and depending on how you treat your employer, you might unlock something a little bit hidden. This game has an intense neo-noir style that reminds me of titles like Hotline Miami, but less intense overall. This game drips with visual flair, and the pixel artwork is gorgeous and far more detailed than you'd expect from your average retro indie. Just look at the attention to detail in the background of this church scene, or the quality of the character animations, whether it be something as cool as sheathing your sword, murdering enemies, or, and look away now kids, this gangster doing drugs. Unsavory in terms of action, but damn does the animation look clean. This isn't a title for kids or teens, it's rated M for mature. This is a game that focuses on pretty tough subjects: drugs and the effects of withdrawal, casual murder and gore, torture, death. It can get pretty intense, and I wasn't expecting it. There's a specific instance where your player character is given a tape early on by your neighbor's daughter, and it contains a rather disturbing sequence of events that definitely stayed with me during my playthrough. Luckily, this game does have moments of light, mainly from the comedic dialogue and the scenes involving your neighbor's daughter. She effectively starts hanging out with the player character in the evenings and introduces you to her toys, Behemoth and Leviathan. She becomes a central focus of your character's morality, and depending on your actions, things can and will happen. This game is not for the faint of heart. If you're looking for a friendlier retro-style title based around a samurai protagonist, maybe stick to something like the old Ninja Gaiden games or The Messenger. Still, for those of you who want a mature, gripping story, Katana ZERO has it in spades. It plays with your expectations, and once you realize just where the story is headed, the game has a lot of fun subverting what you've come to expect, relishing in the routine breaks that may shock you your first time through. However, I will admit that the story does get a little bit predictable as it goes along. And please be aware that playing Katana ZERO for the story may leave you a little unsatisfied at the end, as the game ends on what I consider to be a cliffhanger. It's a to-be-continued story, and I honestly wasn't expecting the game to end at the point where it did. I wanted to see what happened next, but the game ended before I could find out. But hey, if movies sequel bait all the time, I think games can be given a pass too, especially for a title that was in development for over 6 years prior to release. You can see the blood, sweat, and tears that went into making this title, and I really respect what Akiisoft Studios were able to come up with. It doesn't have the longest playtime, my playtime running in at about 4 hours, but it is exceptionally replayable, as I will get to in a minute. I played Katana ZERO on Steam using keyboard controls, and I had no issues, but you can obviously play this game on PC or on consoles like the Switch or Xbox. If you're a PlayStation player, sorry to say this game isn't on your platform. Right now, you can purchase Katana ZERO on Steam for £11.39, €12.49, and $14.99. If you want to play it on Switch, the current prices are £13.49, €14.99, and $14.99. If you want to play it on Xbox, the current prices are £12.49, €14.99, and $14.99. These prices were all taken from online sources. They may be different depending on when you're viewing this video, and don't take into account potential platform sale events. If you're in the UK or Europe, your best deals are the Steam version, while if you're in the US, pick and choose, they're the same price throughout. I went into Katana ZERO with some expectations, and I left the game feeling satisfied and happy with my purchase. The game also has multiple post-game modes, such as a hard mode and speedrun mode, which I haven't personally dabbled with, but I've only heard positive feedback, and the speedrun mode is apparently extremely customizable to suit your playstyle, and adds to that replay value I was going to get onto earlier. Overall, I'm mostly satisfied with my time playing Katana ZERO. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, and the story does get a bit predictable after the exposition starts to be unraveled, but the journey, the gameplay, it's fast, fluid, enjoyable, and above all, replayable. So, Katana ZERO gets 8.5 petable cats in the opening level out of 10. If you want to support Akiisoft Studios, I will leave a link to their website down below, as well as a link to Katana ZERO's Steam page. If you want to check it out on other platforms, you can find them on their respective shops. If you're looking for games in the same vein as Katana ZERO, I will point you towards Hotline Miami, another title with a synthwave aesthetic with a similar gameplay loop. Kill everyone in a level before they kill you, everyone dies in one hit, have fun. Thank you for watching, leave a like if you enjoyed, consider following me on Twitter or Twitch, I stream 4 nights a week. If you haven't already, check out my previous videos. I did a first impressions of the Monster Hunter Rise demo from the perspective of a newbie to the franchise. I also catalogued my gaming journey of 2020 in video form, and earlier this month I reviewed indie arcade shooter Writhe for the Nintendo Switch. You can find links to those videos in the top right corner. Thank you for watching, goodbye.